Washington, Maryland. Tonight we have live updates from several of our correspondents from across the U.S., Canada, Australia, and South America. Nadine Dueñas in Ciudad de Guatemala, Guatemala.
President Alejandro Giammattei among top 5 leaders in Latin America in best management of COVID-19 situation.
Thomas Lackness, Edmonton, Alberta.
Alberta's premier is asking that travel restrictions be lifted so professional hockey players can play in Canada.
Mayan Manzana Guarazon in Sicklerville, New Jersey.
New Jersey governor says we are now well past the peak.
E.J. Gonzalez in Alexandria, Virginia.
Going back to work, Virginia governor announces safety regulations for the public.
Brendel Pajarin in Seattle, Washington.
Washingtonians head to beaches as pandemic restrictions ease.
Chris Mercado in Chicago, Illinois.
State moves towards phase 3 of restoring Illinois.
Julian Fiesta in Delano, California.
Los Angeles County reaches milestone in recovery with safer at work and in the community. Roadmap to recovery.
And Anita Manaus in Dallas, Texas will report on Governor Abbott issues proclamation expanding enumerated list of covered services. Plus, a Jiu-Jitsu academy in Port Wainimi refuses to tap out despite the pandemic. Meet a hobbyist turned entrepreneur in Australia and learn to make sudado de pollo in a la criolla with the Peralta family in Medellin, Colombia. And for dessert, we'll learn how to make chocolate torte. And as promised, part 2 of our flower arrangement tutorial by designer Lemmy Allegado. But first, an overview of how the world looks now. According to the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University in Medicine, as of 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Wednesday, May 27, 2020, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide is now more than 5,600,000. This includes close to 1,700,000 in the U.S. and more than 88,000 in Canada. Sadly, this virus has claimed more than 353,000 lives worldwide. The number includes more than 99,000 deaths in the U.S. and more than 6,000 in Canada. Our coverage begins now. President Alejandro Giammattei of Guatemala is said to be among the top 5 leaders in Latin America in best management of the COVID-19 situation. Nadine Dueñas in Ciudad de Guatemala reports.
Hello, good evening, or buenas noches, Ken. How are you doing?
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches. Well, based on the report Imagen del Poder, o Poder de la Imagen, Image of Power, Power of Image, released on May 15th by the Organización Directorio Legislativo, a nonpartisan and independent organization that promotes the constitution of autonomous, flexible, democratic, and independent spaces. Dr. Alejandro Giammattei, the president of Guatemala, placed second after the president of El Salvador. In the ranking of presidents who best managed the coronavirus outbreak and situation. This report is the result of the surveys held by the consultancy firm Mitofsky in 12 countries around Latin America and the Caribbean. During the months of March and April 2020, after the confirmation of the first COVID-19 cases in Latin America in late February, most of the governments in the region have reacted by imposing very strict isolation measures that entail major economic and social impacts. The objective of the report was to answer to the following questions. First is, what level of support does the government have when facing the medium and long term? And also, do citizens trust their ability to respond to the challenges of the present and the future? Well, during the months of January and February, Dr. Alejandro Giammattei had a 56% of acceptance by the Guatemalans. But in these past 2 months, his decisions and management resulted in an increase of 31 points, ending with an 87% of acceptance and support. The report further revealed the following results about the opinion of the Guatemalans concerning the president. First of all, the presidential management of the crisis obtained an 89% of approval. 81% also agreed with the prohibition of going outside for a long term. 87% agreed with the suspension of public transportation to avoid conglomerations. 89% agreed that it was right, the closure of coffee shops and restaurants. 93% agreed with the shutdown or closure of frontiers. And lastly, 85% of the Guatemalans trust in the government of Dr. Alejandro Yamatei. In the ranking, President Nayib Bukele of El Salvador placed first with an acceptance level of a 96%. In second place, Alejandro Yamatei with 87%. In third place, President Alberto Fernandez of Argentina with an 80%. In fourth place, President Martín Vizcarra of Peru with a 73%. And in fifth place came President Luis Lacalle Pou of Uruguay with a 65%. As for the presidential measures for this week in Guatemala, the same measures apply as the ones of last week, wherein it is only allowed to circulate within your own departamento. Hours of circulation is only allowed between 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. from Monday to Friday. All stores and shopping centers will remain closed. Supermarkets, grocery stores, and neighborhood stores are allowed to operate only from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. and complete lockdown on weekends, wherein the toque de queda or curfew starts at 5 p.m. on Friday and ends on Monday, 5 a.m. To the date, there are 4,145 COVID-19 cases, 3,582 active cases, 493 recovered, and 68 deaths. En Ciudad de Guatemala, Nadine Dueñas, Eagle News, vivimos en tiempos interesantes. Back to you, Ken.
Thank you, Nadine. So regarding your specific current situation, I believe you're in a situation where you have to stay in Guatemala for a while. What's your mental fortitude like? I mean, are you okay with your current situation? Are you longing to go back home? Where is home for you? I mean, what are you missing? What's your situation over there, Nadine?
Well, actually, what I said, and I continue to say, I feel really, really safe actually here in Guatemala. Home for me is Mexico, but since in Guatemala there are if you compare it to the other Latin American countries, Guatemala is doing a very good job in controlling the COVID-19 situation. And I insist, a lot of the people outside, they really do respect all of the measures that the president imposes so that all of us can be safe. So I'm okay. So I'm still okay. And I feel safe here. Let's see what's going to happen. At least I'm going to be here until June 4th. So let's see.
Well, I mean, I guess that's one of those things where, the situation first happened. You get stuck and you're like, this might be a horrible situation for me, but it ends up being, I guess, a blessing in disguise, right? So, I mean,
exactly.
I guess that's a big positive to be in a place that's, where the government is handling the COVID-19 situation to the best of their ability. And it obviously shows in the statistics that you've reported today. So hopefully more of, more safety for you. And also, whatever happens to you on June 4th, hopefully I'm sure it's for the best too.
Thank you very much. Hope to see you around. Well, maybe from Mexico next time.
Gracias, Nadine. I actually just watched a documentary on tacos, so hopefully, you can give us the taco tour whenever we visit. Thank you so much.
I sure will. Thank you.
Take care. Alberta Premier Jason Kenney asked that travel restriction be lifted so professional hockey players can play in Canada. Thomas Likeness in Edmonton has the report.
Good evening, Ken. Something different, at least for me tonight, and that's reporting on sports, not something I usually do. And you're right, hockey fans in Canada smiling with news that games will resume this summer, and our Premier is right in the midst of it, promoting the province, because where are they going to play these games? That hasn't been decided. We're going to have to wait another 2 to 4 weeks to find that out. Little background, first of all. The season was suspended on March the 12th. And yesterday, NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman said the league is going to finish the season, is over. We're going to advance to playoffs. So that partially finished season now goes into a 24-team playoff roster. training camps are set to begin sometime in mid to late July. So it's going to be a while before we see anybody on the ice. Now, Edmonton, Alberta, where I live, that's one of the 3 Canadian cities being considered as a hub. 10 cities in all, 3 in Canada, 7 in the United States. And out of that, they're going to choose 2 venues. Now, if it's in Canada, we've got this travel restriction between the U.S. and Canada. I understand the NHL has written the Department of Homeland Security in the U.S. and asked for some easing of restriction there so that travel can freely flow, at least for players and NHL staff between the 2 countries. But even if that restriction is lifted, there's still the issue of the quarantine restriction. Alberta Premier Jason Kenney has written the Prime Minister. He's outlined all the reasons that Edmonton should be a hub city. Mainly that it's a safe place. The infection rate in Edmonton is one of the lowest in North America. And on side with that is our Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Dina Hinshaw. She supports Edmonton becoming a hub city. And she says the players, though, will still have to be quarantined for 14 days. The circumstances of that quarantine will be modified.
Is an opportunity for a cohort quarantine, which would mean that a group that came in from international travel, such as an individual team, would have to stay together in that quarantine period and would not be able to interact with others outside of that cohort group. And as I mentioned, that size of that cohort group, whether it's 1 team or 2 teams that could potentially allow play, they would be effectively sealed off from the rest of the community, and there would be no interaction between them and the rest of the community, which, with respect to public safety, is the consideration that we take most seriously.
Premier Kenney has noted that the unique infrastructure of the area surrounding the Rogers Place Arena in Edmonton provides an additional level of safety. You see, there's a number of hotels that connect directly to that arena via secured headways. Therefore, we've got kind of an effective quarantine zone, a whole bubble where you can house these teams and keep them away from everybody else. The other 2 cities, well, it's unlikely Vancouver is going to be chosen. The Premier there has already said no easing of restrictions. This is the way it's going to be, so it's unlikely Vancouver will be chosen. And Toronto, I think that's out of the question. Just look at the high infection rate there. I don't think the NHL wants players in that particular environment. So my guess, if there's a Canadian venue, is going to be my city in Edmonton. In the meantime, I wish you all good health. Take care of others. Take care of yourselves. Stay home, stay safe, and stay tuned to Eagle News for accurate and balanced coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic. In Edmonton, Canada, Thomas I. Likeness, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Tom. So, I mean, I'm sure Canada is as thirsty for sports as the U.S. is when it comes to, well, specifically hockey, as the U.S. is when it comes to the NBA, when it comes to Major League and, football coming up. But, NBA, we're very close. It sounds like it's very close to, they're landing a contract with resuming over in Disney World and in Orlando, Florida. I mean, there's plenty of things to do there, it looks like, for the players, the families, if they're not quarantined off. Let's say Alberta does get the contract for the playoffs for hockey, and it's end of July. There's not too much of a crazy quarantine. What would the players be able to do as far as entertainment in your city?
Well, that's a big question because, again, they kind of want them kept in this bubble. So that's something they're going to have to work out. What they don't want is they don't want them out mingling with the public.
Sure.
Because, again, it's like having an out-of-country visitor. And that's the risk we want to avoid here.
Yeah, I understand that would definitely be a challenge. Should the restrictions ease up a little bit, and they want to keep it in one city. However, let's say like the family members are allowed to go out. Are there places there where entertainment is available for family members that are going to be quarantined off but are going to be in the city?
Again, it would depend on the restrictions. I mean, there's the usual restaurants. There isn't going to be much for outdoor celebrations this summer. Most of them have been canceled, so it may be a bit of a drought. They may begin to feel like sports fans because, like you said, there isn't a whole lot for sports fans to watch right now. I bet you could find a market for play-by-play solitaire, watching people play solitaire. That's how hungry sports fans are for something to watch.
You know what's funny? I actually watched. There's NASCAR, right? I watched NASCAR simulation racing this past weekend on ESPN. I don't know what I don't know what has become of me that I've come to the situation where I'm watching not actual NASCAR, but the NASCAR simulation. So they were playing the video game, and I was like, all right, well, I was very excited to watch it. So I guess this is the time to, I mean, whatever. Also, one of the largest viewed sports matches of the year was the Tiger Woods Phil Mickelson one, and that's just a celebrity golf game, right? I mean, we want anything, and I'm sure if Canada is able to get hockey back going and approved, it's got the numbers are going to be soaring.
Oh, I think the ratings are going to be great, and certainly it's going to help the league financially because the teams in the league as a whole has taken a big hit this year.
And I think that'll be a big economic boost for Edmonton.
Oh, certainly will for Edmonton because as well as the players coming in, you've got all of the ancillary staff with the teams, plus the television crews that are coming in as well.
Absolutely. Tom, sports looks and sounds good on you, so hopefully we'll hear some more in the future.
That play-by-play solitaire.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Ken.
Up next, more COVID-19 live updates. Eagle News will return shortly. Stay with us this evening.
Iba't iba man ang pinanggalingan, iisa lang ang pinangahawakan. Ang pangarap na makilala sa kanilang larangan. Mas titindi pa ang performances ng ating mga TNG aspirants dito lang sa pinakabago at pinakamalaking talent competition ng Philippine Television. Ito ang...
Tagisan ng Galing is presented by SMC Infrastructure, building a better world. Sandig sugar-free white coffee, puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sandig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Vetaproof Nutrichos, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa Nutrichos. Magnolia Chicken Templados, delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Luncheon Meat, pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Food Standard Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Kubert, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate MEPS and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee, masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. Participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint. Colorful protection for your home. Matimco. Matimco is wood. Wood is Matimco. R-Square Variables Incorporated, your trusted UPS supplier and UPS maintenance provider in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. CompuZell Computer Services, ID card and lanyard manufacturer. Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, EMAC UPB Roof Corporation.
Hey, Hi! Gretchen Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, Sandmade Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! Sandmade Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
The successful development of T-Plex, or Tarlac-Pangasinan-La Union Expressway in 2009, a 4-lane toll road that extends from Tarlac City to Rosario, La Union, with an additional approved extension of 56 kilometers all the way to San Juan, La Union. This is expected to reduce travel time to Baguio and other provinces in northern Luzon. Realizing the vision of creating a better world for Filipinos fueled the team's focus.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved Nutri-Chunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chunks.
Ikaw lang ang star ng buhay ko. Para sa akin, perfect ka. Ibang klase ang sarap ng corned beef mo. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Pag Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, sarap ng corned beef, inangat pa ng real cheese cubes. Kaya perfect ang sarap. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef.
Hi and welcome back. I'm Ken Cruz with Legal News. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy says, quote, "We are now well past the peak," end quote. In Sicklerville, we have Mayan Manzano-Guarzon with the details.
Thank you, Ken. Let's start with the latest numbers of COVID-19 related cases. Total number of New Jerseyans tested positive, 156,628. New positive cases reported today, 970. New number of deaths is 148, and New Jersey's total fatalities is 11,339. In his daily COVID-19 press briefing, Wednesday, March 27, Governor Murphy says these numbers continue to go down practically every day. With 164 testing sites across the state, New Jersey is now capable of more than 20,000 tests per day. On May 23rd, the state recorded 30,000 tests and only 7% came back positive. Governor Murphy says, quote, "That is very encouraging data indeed. The more people who get tested, the stronger our data becomes. And the stronger our data becomes, the stronger our confidence will become that we can take the next steps in responsibly restarting our economy and getting our recovery underway." The number of hospitalizations currently being treated for COVID-19 is 2,761. The number of patients reported in either critical or intensive care decreased to 768, and 583 are on ventilators. The new hospitalizations are 241, while 164 patients were discharged. Governor Murphy says all the key metrics have all shown tremendous progress and improvement over the past month, and that we are now well past the peak. As he also said many times before, New Jersey's ability to restart is guided by 8 words. Public health creates economic health. Data determines states. It has also been reported that the state partnered with private sectors such as Rite Aid, CVS, and Walmart, who are now offering testing at numerous locations across the state, making accessibility easier for more New Jerseyans. With these progresses in New Jersey's COVID-19 cases, many expect that the state will soon take the steps into stage 2 of its road back to recovery. In Sicklerville, New Jersey, Mayan Manzano-Guarzon, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Appreciate it, Mayan. So with your current number of testing capacity, does that mean that New Jersey will soon proceed to stage 2 of reopening?
Hi, Ken. That is what many are expecting here in New Jersey, especially the business owners and even churchgoers. But as clarified by the State Health Commissioner, Judy Persicelli, testing is only the first step. And the most important containment activity is actually the isolation or quarantine to stop the spread. And before we even proceed to further reopening, that
as for yourself, for your family, for your friends, how has stage one been? Specifically, this past Memorial Day weekend, have you noticed a change from the actual hardcore quarantine to stage one?
Yes, Ken, we actually saw more vehicles on the road, more people parked in plazas, more comfortable going out. But we're just lucky that here in the south of New Jersey, we have way less cases than there in the north. So I don't know the case. I cannot speak for the northern part of New Jersey, Ken, but here in the south, we noticed that people are getting more comfortable being out there. Ken?
And then for yourself, when do you think you and your family can being regularly? Stage 2, stage 3, a little past any of those stages?
Ken, to be honest, maybe when we're at stage 4 or the last stage, that's when we'll be more comfortable going out, dine in restaurants, going shopping. Well, we'll see what will be the next stage 2 or 3 will look like, Ken?
Yeah, maybe stage vaccine, right?
That's correct.
Thank you so much, man. Take care.
Thank you, Ken.
Going back to work, Virginia Governor Ralph Northam announces safety regulations for the public. Eagle News correspondent EJ Gonzalez in Alexandria has the story.
Thanks, Ken. Well, according to the Virginia Department of Health, the state saw its lowest confirmed case count since the first week of March. Yesterday, the VDH recorded just 21 new confirmed cases, which is the lowest count for Virginia since March 8th. With hopeful signs of the curve flattening, non-essential employees are beginning to make their way back to their respective workplaces. Governor Ralph Northam issued a press release yesterday announcing guidelines for all Virginians to keep the environment safe. Northam signed Executive Order 63, which regulates citizens to wear face coverings if they are to be in a public indoor setting. The governor said, quote, "Science shows that face coverings are an effective way to prevent transmission of the virus, but wearing them is also a sign of respect. This is about doing the right thing to protect the people around us and keep everyone safe, especially as we continue to slowly lift public health restrictions in our Commonwealth." The press release indicates that face coverings include anything that covers the nose down to the mouth, including masks, bandanas, or scarves. Medical-grade masks, however, are to be reserved for those who work in the hospital or other healthcare settings. All persons over the age of 10 should have proper face coverings and should only be removed during specific occasions, such as when eating. Individuals who are exercising outside, however, are exempted from wearing masks. For those returning back to work soon, the governor has directed the Commissioner of the Department of Labor and Industry to create emergency temporary standards that will protect employees from the spread of COVID-19. The guidelines developed must consider a couple of things: personal protective equipment, sanitation, record keeping of incidents, and hazard communication. And once these regulations are created, approval will be voted upon by the Virginia Safety and Health Codes Board. As we all seek to get back to a sense of normalcy, the Virginia governor has adopted the same protocols that many other states are implementing. We should always keep these safety precautions in mind, especially if we are returning back to work, to keep ourselves and our families safe and healthy. In Alexandria, Virginia, EJ Gonzalez, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Appreciate it, EJ. So how about yourself? Are you guys, is work starting anytime soon? And if so, what kind of precautions, measures are they looking to take in order to ensure everyone's safety?
Yeah, well, for me, I'm a full-time teleworker, so I work from home. I have no problem on my end. But as for my wife, their workplace will be returning within the next few weeks. Their plan is not to go back full-time. I think they're trying to go just a couple of days throughout the week. And I believe they'll have different groups who will be going back to work together. and keeping that group intact and not spreading it amongst other groups or mixing that up.
Fair enough. And I know I mentioned this earlier with our other correspondent, Tom. This past weekend, as an avid golfer, did you watch the Tiger versus Phil versus Tom versus Peyton?
Yeah, I was definitely counting down the days to that tournament just so that I could watch some sort of live sporting event. Definitely, of course, rooting for Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning, but that shot that Tom Brady hit, I think 120 yards out, right into the hole right when Chuck started talking trash. That was great TV, and that was great, a great highlight for someone who isn't known for playing golf, you know?
Well, I mean, I think he was having a pretty bad day up until that point.
Oh, yeah.
The weather was brutal, too. So I think, you know, despite all those things, I mean, Tom Brady is as clutch as they come, I guess, no matter what the sport. So it's very nice to see him bring out, you know, TV, typical TV on during the clutch time. His pants, on the other hand, that was a pretty funny.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Right down the middle.
Awesome. Well, I mean, hopefully sometime soon, you know, golf opens up for, you know, well, you get some golf time, so you can get your Tiger Woods on.
Yep.
Appreciate it, Jay. Take care.
Yeah, thanks, Ken.
As pandemic restrictions eased in Washington State, people start heading to the beach. Eagle News correspondent Brendel Paharan in Seattle reports.
Hi, Ken. How are you doing today?
Doing well, thanks, Brendel. How about yourself?
Doing great. I'm really excited to report tonight. Washingtonians are to be. However, that's not all of Washington. That's not all of Washington. Today, Governor Inslee announced that there are 4 counties, which are Thurston, and Walla that were approved to move into phase 2 out of the 4 phases of Governor Inslee's 4-phase state of Washington to move to normalcy. And so there are 39 counties, and a lot of residents are wondering why we moved to. So here's information how counties are being approved to move on to phase 2. Things that are being considered is that they have to have no more than 10 new cases in a 14-day period out of 100,000. And the application process does require the help of the local officers, Board of Health, local hospitals, county commission council. Now, as Washingtonians in the 24 other counties that are approved in phase 2, we have to continue to remind ourselves to recreate responsibly. And some of the tips to recreate responsibly is always check what recreational outdoor facilities are open, stay close to home, be prepared, stay home if you're feeling sick, practice physical distancing, wear a face cover, and practice hygiene always, and leave no trace. So whatever you bring into the park or into the facility or what have you, make sure that you also take that home with you. Now, I was able to get in touch with a couple Washingtonians, and they were able to share their adventure this past weekend. Let's share what we found out from Danielle and Sam.
Outdoors and being around nature has always brought peace to me. So it was great to just take a moment and appreciate the beauty that God has created amidst all the craziness that's happened recently. I really liked the beach that we went to with the pups because it was completely empty with no one else in sight. Listening to the waves, breathing in the cold wind, and feeling the sand on my feet made me feel so free and peaceful. Everything about this trip to the beach, even just the drive going there, benefited my mental health. Being away from the city helped me feel more calm and refreshed. For the most part, a majority of the people I see in public were complying with the guidelines set in place. Although there are some who choose not to wear a mask, everyone is at least being mindful to keep their distance from each other. It was great to be out in the open, but with COVID-19 and social distancing in place, there was a change in the atmosphere that could be felt all around. you see less people, and when you do, every interaction, even something as small as passing by someone or saying hello, feels very risky.
I had such an amazing interview with them, and I'm so glad they were able to share footage from their weekend adventure. But one of the things that Gail mentioned is how much this adventure out in the open has really contributed to her mental health. You know, it's just all the feel goods, and we really wish this upon everyone here in Washington. You know, just continue to do their part and comply with all the guidelines given by the state government. So to flatten curve, you know, we can flatten the curve and move towards normalcy. But so that's what we hope for Washington. You got to play team, be great responsibly, and so we can move forward to normalcy. From Seattle, Washington, we live in interesting times.
Thanks, Brenda. So how are you looking to recreate responsibly in the outdoors?
Ken, you might know this. So I have two girls, they're 13 and 11, and we just bought them bikes. So the whole family has their own bikes, so we're just excited to go out on the trail. Not only that, but go to the beaches as well. So those are the two main things that we're looking to do this weekend.
So I'm sure that you've seen this, on social media, probably your own local social media, on the news, local news, right? I mean, most people are abiding by the guidelines, but there are those that don't. How do you feel about those that aren't following through with the guidelines?
So it's about my is because I work in the and surrounded by a lot of education about disease, and just see the importance of protecting ourselves and our family. I don't feel good. I feel like the people that aren't complying, either they're one, just not aware of what they should, just not educated or informed, or two, they just don't feel the gravity of what COVID-19 can do to the community. And where I work, I do come across individuals who don't want to wear a mask. And in this encounter, they have to. And when I tell them, I've lost family members, COVID, it changes their whole demeanor. All of a sudden they understand the importance of wearing a mask. So I don't feel good. I just wish that everyone can feel the gravity of the danger of this disease and to comply so that we can flatten the curve all over, not just here in Washington.
Right. I mean, what's tough is that, Seattle, it's famous for, rainy, windy weather. However, the sunny days in Seattle, in Washington in general, are some of the sunniest in the nation. And so, how do you feel like people in your area? It's just one of those things that if it's a sunny day, everyone's going to be out. So, how do you think the people in your area can responsibly, take advantage of the sun, but at the same time to follow the guidelines?
Perfect. So what we can do is what a lot of families are doing. We can go outdoors, right? And when we're out, just have a mask nearby, just in case you come encounter with another family, another individual, and you can't quite have that physical distance, at least you have a mask. But other than that, just keep your distance and, still enjoy the outdoors. Just be prepared, and keep your family safe and the others safe. Now, in phase 2, here in Governor Jay Inslee's plan, we are allowed to, continue to go in the outdoors with 5 or less additional people in our house. If I can bring you back to phase 1, we are allowed to enjoy fishing, hunting, and so forth. But they advise us to just stay with our. But now in phase 2, out with others, just less than 5. So just be prepared, just and stay clean.
Well, Well, I mean, best of luck to you, and hopefully, you know, the training wheels are off soon for your girls when it comes to their bikes.
Oh, they do. Enough.
Or maybe for you. Just kidding. All right, Brenda, thank you so much. After the break, more COVID-19 updates. Stay with us. Hello and welcome back. You're watching Eagle News. I'm Ken Cruz. The state moves towards phase 3 of restoring Illinois. In Chicago, Eagle News correspondent Chris Mercado has a story.
Thank you, Ken. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker mentioned in a press conference that the state is moving forward with Restore Illinois. The plans are to bring most regions in Illinois into phase 3 by this Friday. While there are still additional cases, numbers are trending in a good direction. It is still advised that face coverings are required in public and to continue to maintain social distancing. The city of Chicago, being that it has the most COVID-19 cases in the state, is on a slower progression towards the Protecting Chicago reopening framework, but is on track to be ready to move to phase 3 in June. According to Mayor Lori Lightfoot, quote, "The health and safety of residents have always been and will continue to be our singular North Star in dealing with this crisis. While our health metrics don't allow us to transition to phase 3 just yet, their trajectory over these past few weeks suggests that Chicago will be prepared to make that transition in June." For the COVID-19 numbers in Illinois, as of today, there are 1,111 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the total up to 114,306 cases. Unfortunately, 160 additional lives were lost to the disease today. From Chicago, Chris Mercado, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Ken.
Thanks, Chris. So as the state prepares to move all regions to phase 3, what does that mean for Chicago residents and business owners?
Sadly, some businesses in Chicago suffered during this pandemic and have closed. Despite of that, there are those who continue to support the local food businesses in the city. As for the residents, we are eager to return to the streets of Chicago. The city is full of events, full of sports, full of food, and full of life, and we can't wait to be a part of it again. Ed?
Yeah, so, I mean, there's nothing, I mean, I've been to Chicago quite a few times, and there's nothing like summertime shower, right? I mean, as Kanye says.
Absolutely.
What's the situation for you, your friends, your family, as far as being antsy to get out and about? I mean, it's cold there maybe 99% of the time, but that 1% is amazing. And hopefully it doesn't pass you by. Like, how are you guys feeling?
Well, just like you said, everyone wants to enjoy summertime chai, and we want to take advantage of the few times of the summer that it's actually sunny. So it's kind of hard right now with the pandemic because we don't have the opportunity to really explore Chicago. But once we are able to, once the city opens again, we're excited to go and roam the streets again.
Yeah, I mean, how about you specifically? What is on your what's the top thing on your summertime list over there in Chicago?
Probably going to restaurants and being a foodie again.
Oh, I'm a foodie myself. Are you going to maybe Zed, my favorite Brazilian barbecue place in Chicago?
I have not been there yet.
Oh, please. Well, hopefully they made it. And if they did, it's kind of like a fancier version of Fogo de Chao.
Ah.
For me. I mean, I would love to get a recommendation for you for a summer place that you're gonna hit up first.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing I'm excited for is for sports to come back again, because I'm a big Chicago Cubs fan, so we want to be back out in the field.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, like Chicago, I mean, everyone literally in the past 2 months has been watching just Chicago because of The Last Dance. So I'm sure the locals are more than excited to actually get out and about and, you know, explore the city again.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Chris. Take care, and hopefully the summer comes in.
Thank you, Ken.
Los Angeles County reaches milestone in recovery with safer at work and in the community. Roadmap to recovery. Julianne Fiesta in Delano has details.
Thank you, Ken. California Governor Gavin Newsom recently announced that the state of California is flattening the curve and expanding its testing. All of this can be seen through the data from the last 14 days, showing that there's only been a 6.7% decrease in hospitalizations and 0.6% increase in the amount of ICU patients. With these statistics showing the numbers lessening, Newsom continues to remind all Californians to continue to take this pandemic seriously and continue to take the proper precautions. Los Angeles County has reached a milestone in recovery with the Safer at Work and the Community Roadmap to Recovery initiative. This initiative aligns Los Angeles County with the regulations and guidelines of the state of California in its approach to reopen businesses in phases. This initiative will move toward the safe reopening of businesses, places of worship, and indoor markets. Some of the activities not permitted are services for faith-based organizations of a building capacity of 25% or maximum of 100 people. Reopening of flea markets, indoor retail shopping centers, and drive-in movie theaters, and the reopening of pools and saunas in a multi-residence. With all these changes placed in effect to move towards the reopening of businesses, physical distancing requirements, wearing of face cloth coverings, and safety protocols must still be observed at all times. According to Supervisor Hilda L. Solis, she stated, quote, "This is another big milestone for LA County as, step by step, we begin safely reopening our communities and economy. But reopening does not mean going back to business as usual. As long as community members follow safety rules, we can continue to make more progress." The updated orders for LA County will now allow Angelenos to take part in the newly permitted activities as long as the practice of physical distancing and the wearing of cloth face masks are followed. With these changes, LA residents are still encouraged to remain at home as much as possible and limit close contact with others when not needed. In Los Angeles County, the number of new cases increased with 933 newly reported cases and 53 new deaths. The total number of confirmed cases in the county are 48,700, with 2,195 deaths, as announced today by the Los Angeles Public Health Department. Meanwhile, the state of California now has 98,980 confirmed COVID-19 cases and 3,884 deaths as recorded by the California Department of Public Health. In Delano, California, Julianne Fiesta, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thanks, Julianne. So in your report, you mentioned drive-in theaters. Have you ever been to one?
Actually, no, I haven't, but I've spoken with friends who have, and I gotta tell you, I'm pretty curious. There's some unique advantages to driving up in your car to watch a movie, one of which is you don't need to feel guilty about sneaking in food. Which, by the way, is nothing I've never done.
Well, I mean, fair enough. My pro tips: try to go in a pickup so that you have all the stars around you. And if you have more than two people, the people in the back are going to have limited viewing because of the seats in front. So maybe two. If it's a max two people, maybe three people per car. And then the snacks, absolutely. That's probably the number one thing. Where's the closest drive-in theater in Delano?
The closest probably is going to be in the Montclair area, which is
Whoa,
not close at all.
Far.
Delano's definitely one of the smaller places, so drive-through theaters aren't very common. We actually just got a theater recently, a completely new theater, so drive-in theaters, not common at all.
Well, I think on eBay or on Amazon, the cost for a projector and a white screen is probably like $120. So maybe, and then cost of a Netflix subscription is what, like $15 nowadays. So maybe that might be a good combination for you.
There you go. Open one up in Delano.
However, I also know that Delano is extremely hot around this time of year. Is that correct, Delano?
Oh, it is so hot. It is 100+ degrees. We are staying inside. It's a good thing we're staying inside because it is very, very hot outside.
Yeah, so it looks like, quarantine or not, Delano people, what do you call it? Delanoans? Delanoans?
Yeah, that works.
The Delano community will probably be staying inside in the AC around this time of year, I'm guessing.
Yeah, definitely. If you got a pool, use it. If not, we're all inside.
Awesome. Well, wishing you safety and, a great time over there in Delano during these times. Thank you, Delano. Texas Governor Greg Abbott issues a proclamation expanding list of covered services. In Dallas, Eagle News correspondent Anita Manales has the details.
Open Texas is currently under Phase 2, and Governor Abbott on Tuesday, May 26, issued a proclamation expanding the enumerated list of covered services under Executive Order GA-23. Starting Friday, May 29th, water parks can open, but only up to 25% occupancy of their normal operating limits. Components that have video arcades must remain closed. Beginning Sunday, May 31st, recreational sports programs for adults can resume, but games and similar competitions may not begin until June 15th. Starting or effective immediately, driver education programs can resume operations. Food court dining areas within shopping malls can also immediately resume operations, but malls are encouraged to designate one or more individuals who are responsible for ensuring health and safety practices are followed. Meantime, the Texas driver license offices will face an opening for driver license and identification card services by appointment only, beginning May 26. The department is limiting services at this time to help minimize the spread of COVID-19. If your Texas driver's license, identification card, CLP, commercial driver's license card, or election certificate expires on or after March 13, you are granted a waiver for the expiration date for 60 days after the department provides further public notice that normal operations have resumed. All local and state law enforcement officials have been notified of this expiration waiver. When the department resumes normal operations, you will be able to renew without any penalty. More information is posted on the Texas Department of Public Safety website. And as Texas and some other states in the country are opening again, so does live sporting events. In North Texas, the Mesquite Championship Rodeo is opening June 6, and rodeo tickets are now on sale via Ticketmaster. In an interview of the rodeo director, Travis Sweet, posted on their Facebook page, He said that this is the first ticketed live sporting event in Texas. When asked about the efforts being put in place to ensure everyone is safe, Wade mentioned that they are following PRCA and Dallas County guidelines and expressed their want to keep the fans safe without intruding on their personal liberty. Still in Texas, Frito-Lay North America, the maker of many of America's favorite snack foods, headquartered in Plano, Texas, recently released the latest edition of its U.S. Snack Index. Some of the highlights showed that as people continue looking for some level of normalcy, many are turning to snacking. According to the poll, 83% of the respondents said their favorite summer snacks remind them of good times, and 48% said eating their favorite snack makes them feel happy. The report also mentioned that IRI retail sales data shows salty snacks have been the #1 food item that's contributed to sales growth at retailers since early March, when consumers were shifting purchasing priorities amid stay-at-home orders for various states. And for the statistics, as of May 27, there were 1,361 new cases reported in Texas. So now Texas has 57,921 reported cases, 1,562 fatalities, and 37,626 recovered. In Dallas, Texas, this is Nanita Manawis, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Anita, thanks for the report, and your report is very true. Snacks do make me very happy. Up next, a story about a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu academy in Port Weinman refusing to tap out despite the pandemic, and needle hobbyist turned entrepreneur in Australia. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. You're watching Eagle News. I'm Ken Cruz in Fort Washington. The COVID-19 pandemic has affected millions of lives and has caused economic disruption of enormous proportions. From large corporations to mom and pop shops, so many have been affected. One that has been greatly impacted is the fitness industry. Included in this group are martial arts studios. Tonight, let's hear from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instructor in Port Weinman, California, how his school is trying to keep students connected and the business afloat. Take a look.
Empty parking lots, stores shut down indefinitely were common scenes across the nation at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. For one business owner in Port Weinman, California, closing up shop means more than just loss of revenue. It also means a painful separation from one of the driving passions in his life.
I really miss my students. That's really the bottom line.
Black belt Jeremy Espiritu is the owner and head instructor of Espiritu Jiu-Jitsu. A practitioner of over 10 years, he explains some of the history and concepts of the Brazilian martial art that his business is built upon.
Judo was brought over from Japan, and these Brazilians made it into, they tweaked it and they modified it so that a smaller person can do a lot of the techniques that were originally done by larger people. The main difference with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is its focus. Its focus is control. over everything else. The sport definitely builds confidence, and more specifically, it builds true confidence, because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you are forced to spar every day. It's not just instruction and you go home, it's instruction, and then you have to spar with people your size, smaller than you, or larger than you. My two brothers were both corpsmen in the military. My eldest brother, Alan, passed away in Iraq, serving for the EOD squad. And that flag back there, it was made by combat veterans, so people that served during wartime and came back, and this company called Flags of Valor. They provide jobs for combat veterans. A large reason why I took a risk to do this is my eldest brother, Alan. He used to tell me in his letters to find something I loved and to be good at it, but also learn how to support myself. And that's kind of what I've always dreamt about doing, and Jiu-Jitsu is definitely what I love to do, and I hope to do it for as long as I can. My wife and I have known each other since we were, I would say, 10 years old. We've been friends throughout childhood. She's a nurse, registered nurse by her occupation, and she loves what she does. And after she does what she loves, she helps me with what I love, which is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So she's the backbone of the business, for sure.
Business, however, remains closed. Unfortunately for Jeremy, his academy doesn't fall under the provisions of the accelerated Phase 2 reopening in Ventura County due to the physical contact required between members while sparring.
So before COVID, our attendance was about, for adult class, in low 20s. For our kids class, it's about in the low 30s. Now, it's as empty as it is right now. There are 0 people coming in. It's definitely affected our day-to-day classes. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, just like any martial art, it's something that you have to go to a brick-and-mortar location for. And the fact that they're unable to actually be here together with other people to practice with, makes it very, very difficult. We have really supportive students. We've taken steps to, retain them through online courses, the way we're doing the online database of techniques, drills that they can do with their partners, and solo drills, and the Zoom live classes. I think it's really helped with the community aspect, especially. I definitely didn't see the pandemic coming. I'm sure a lot of people felt the same way. It's so difficult. It was so difficult for us to grasp how big this was going to be. But luckily, I have my wife, and she's able to help me be really, I think she calls it creative with how we're going to still operate our business and help our students, even though we're unable to be with them. So even though it's looking pretty grim, just around the world, we know it's temporary, and we know there's still light at the end of the tunnel. So we're just waiting it out.
Just like other martial arts, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu not only trains a person in combat, but emphasizes the health, well-being of the practitioner. By keeping his academy closed for public safety, instructor Spiritu helps to still support that principle. In Port Hueneme, California, Eva Basayahe, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thank you, Jeremy. More power to your school. Now let's go to the land down under in Sydney. This young hobbyist turned entrepreneur will share with us how her passion to create things blossomed into a small business now sought after in her community. Let's hear from Samantha Demidi.
At the beginning of our quarantine and self-isolation, many of us were filled with uncertainty in what to expect next. The daily activities that we grew accustomed to were limited and even banned due to the social distancing rules put in place. However, in light of this, many of us have found creative ways to pass the time.
Across the globe, there are many who have started new hobbies, finished that project that they were putting off, have become quite the chef in the kitchen, have found that they have a green thumb in the garden, found interesting ways to keep fit with their very own home gym, and so much more. For me, I like to keep myself busy with DIY projects. In the past few weeks in quarantine, I've become a gardener, a baker, I've knitted a scarf and learned how to make scented candles. With the latter, I wanted to share my creations, and so I decided to register my very own candle business called Autumn May. Little did I know that what started off as a small little project and hobby turned into something so rewarding. I launched my first small business just over 3 weeks ago, and the support I received was positively overwhelming. Order came after order, and I'm grateful for the love and support I have received thus far. So, why candles? I've always loved candles. The scent, the ambience, and calm that it can bring you is relaxing and comforting, especially in times like these. I was also running out of a scented candle that could only get in the US, so I wanted to create my own version. Candles are scientifically proven to help soothe us and even transform our mood. A candle's flame can help reduce stress and assist us in becoming more self-aware. The soft, low light from a candle flame helps us to be calm and achieve a meditative state. The body begins to relax and allows us to be mindful of our physical and emotional state. The benefits of feeling more relaxed include more energy, better sleep, enhanced immunity, less pain, and a pleasant personality. Nostalgia through scents. Scents and smells hold the power to not only calm us, but allow us to travel to a certain point in our lives, another time and another place. Made with love and passion, Autumn May strives to revive those fond and cherished memories.
There are endless possibilities in what you can achieve. The sky's the limit. Reporting from Sydney, Australia for Eagle News International, we live in interesting times.
Thanks, Samantha. Now, all this business talk has got me pretty hungry. So when we come back, we'll learn how to make sudado de pollo a la criolla with the Peralta family in Medellin, Colombia. And for dessert, we'll learn how to make chocolate torta. We'll return shortly. Stay with us. This is Eagle News.
Patindi ng patindi at tuloy-tuloy ang pagpapakita ng galing ng ating mga TNG aspirants. Abangan ang kanilang performances sa pinakamalaking talent competition sa buong bansa, Tagisan ng Galing.
This program is presented by SMC Infrastructure, building a better world. Sandig sugar-free white coffee, puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sandig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Vet-approved NutriChocs, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo, ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa NutriChocs. Magnolia Chicken Templados, delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Luncheon Meat, pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate MEPS and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee, masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, Matinco. R Square Variables Incorporated, CompuZell Computer Services, SciShow International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, EMAC UPB Roof Corporation.
Hey, Gretchen Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, Sandwich Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! Sandwich Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
Star Tollway is a 41.9-kilometer highway that stretches out from Santo Tomas, Batangas, all the way to Batangas City. An important component of the company's portfolio, the NAIA Expressway project is a 5.4-kilometer elevated expressway that connects the Skyway system to NAIA Airport terminals and the entertainment city. SMC Infrastructure's ventures also include other projects aside from the toll road business.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved Nutri-Chunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chunks.
Bakit natin ipinagluluto ang mga mahal natin? We want them to feel special. Sa meaty luncheon meat that we serve. If your pure intentions had a taste, it would taste like Pure Foods. Pure Sarap, Pure Foods luncheon meat.
Welcome back. You're watching Eagle News. I'm Ken Cruz in Fort Washington. Today we have a special treat for you. A Colombian dish called sudado de pollo a la criolla. And our EBC friend, the Peralta family in Madian, will show us how to make it. Take a look.
Sudado de pollo a la criolla.
Hola, somos la familia Peralta. Yo soy Denise, la mamá. Danica, la hija.
El hijo.
Ahora vamos a preparar una comida típica de Colombia. Se llama sudado de pollo. El sudado de pollo es muy famoso en todas partes de Colombia porque es muy fácil de preparar y también todos los ingredientes son muy saludables. Aquí está mi hijo Miguel para presentar los ingredientes.
Los ingredientes de hoy son ingredientes muy accesibles y podréis encontrarlos en cualquier supermercado. Tal como dijeron, son muy saludables. Pasaremos por los ingredientes uno por uno. Primeramente, harina de maíz. Esto será para las arepas. La harina es uno de los ingredientes más usadas en las comidas colombianas. Aceite, preferiblemente de oliva porque es más saludable. Para darle más sabor, también necesitamos pimienta molida orgánica. Y claramente, sal, porque el sal y la pimienta son una pareja perfecta. Y cilantro, o también llamado colantro, para ese toque sabroso y también para servir de decoración. Y el aguacate, o también dicho palta, para complementar el plato, y tal como los demás ingredientes, es sano. También añadiremos el pimiento rojo. Esto nos dará un aroma fragante para todo el plato. Usaremos la cebolla blanca. También podéis usar la roja. A nosotros nos da igual. Y el ajo, para darle un sabor más fuerte. Lo usaremos para el arroz. tomates que nos dará los antioxidantes y también formará nuestra salsa. Papas al granel, que actúan como fuente de potasio. Papas a la criolla, que hará una salsa más espesa. Y la yuca, un ingrediente muy común en Colombia y nos dará más textura al plato. Y, últimamente, pero lo más importante, el pollo, porque sin este ingrediente, este plato nunca será completo. Aunque los ingredientes sean los más frescos que puedan ser, es aún muy importante que las lavemos. Después de lavarlas, cortemos todas las verduras. Y tal como podemos ver en el video, cortemos las papas así. Las cebollas tendrán que ser cortadas de modo uniforme. Y también los tomates se transformarán en la salsa perfecta. Cortemos los demás. Aquí está el pimiento rojo, el ajo y el cilantro o el colantro.
Ahora vamos a cocinar los ingredientes.
Vale, primero de todo, vamos a empezar cocinando el arroz colombiano. Las proporciones dependen en cuántos platos quieren hacer. Para 4 personas hemos usado 2 tazas y media de arroz y un poquito de aceite de oliva. Nosotros hemos usado como aproximadamente 2 cucharadas. Esto ayuda en ablandar el arroz. Y también necesitamos sal. Depende de usted si quieren añadir o no. Ahora usaremos el ajo que hemos cortado. Esto añade sabor. En casi todas partes de Sudamérica, el arroz se cocina con diversos métodos y sabores. Ahora vamos a esperar. ¡Tada! Ya está cocinado. Ahora vamos con el sudado del pollo, nuestra atracción principal. ¡Yay! Hemos calentado la olla con aceite de oliva y hemos puesto nuestros muslos de pollo. Recuérdense de voltear el pollo para que sea cocinado enteramente. Cuando el pollo ya está medio hecha, ya pueden poner la cebolla. También el tomate. Este ingrediente es muy esencial porque forma el sabor de la salsa. Y pimiento rojo. La papa a la criolla es lo que ayuda a espesar la salsa. Añadimos sal al gusto. También el agua. Después de 15 minutos, vamos a añadir las papas al granel y por último el yuca. Si quieren, pueden poner pimienta al gusto. Para las arepas, nosotros vamos a usar 2 tazas de harina de maíz. Una taza y media de agua. Y si quieren, pueden añadir sal. Ustedes pueden comprar las arepas ya hechas en los supermercados, pero nosotros preferimos hacerlas en casa. Esta receta puede crear 8 arepas. Lo mezclamos con una cuchara y cuando ya se puede formar, lo moldeamos en bolas. Lo aplanamos y suavizamos los bordes. Es mejor cuando esté fino las arepas para que se puede cocinar también adentro. Ahora que ya están moldeadas, lo cocinamos en modo a la plancha. Si quieren, pueden cocinarlo con aceite. Van a salir muy crocantes. Como que ya está cocinado el sudado de pollo, vamos a cortar los aguacates o la palta. Lo cortamos por la mitad y quitamos la semilla simplemente con el cuchillo. Y lo cortamos otra vez para que sea 4 rebanadas cada aguacate o palta. Ya hemos puesto el arroz y ahora ponemos el sudado de pollo. Les digo una cosa, huele riquísimo. Ay, mira esa salsa. Es muy cremosa y jugosa. Por último, añadimos el aguacate y las arepas.
Ahora la comida está preparada. Y como dice la gente, la comida que es más rica de todo es la comida hecha con mucho amor. Ahora para probar esto, vamos a llamar a mi papá Edwin.
Al final, lo hemos disfrutado en familia. Este plato fue delicioso, en modo que lo hemos acabado en un instante. Le recomendamos cocinar este plato y disfrutarlo también con sus seres queridos. ¡Gracias!
Muchas gracias, familia de Peralta. That looks amazing. I was actually very confused once they started adding flavors, oil and salt to the rice. I've never done that before, and that will be my next mission, to flavor my rice. Appreciate the tip. And because a meal is not complete without dessert, EBC Team Sacramento has this for us: chocolate sport. Take a look. Well, that was a huge tease. My eyes are full, but my stomach is empty. Thank you so much, Sacramento Bureau. Before we let you go, we continue to thank our frontline and essential workers with a round of applause. Congratulations also to the class of 2020. We're all very proud of you. That's it for today's Eagle News International America. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ken Cruz. We live in interesting times.